So right now, in the spring of 2026, two absolutely massive American projects are happening at the exact same time. One, well, it's a journey back to the stars, and the other is a super high-stakes race for the world's best and brightest minds right here on Earth. Now, they might seem like they're worlds apart, but as you're about to see, these two frontiers, they're more connected than you think.
What we've got here are two parallel missions, really. On one hand, you've got NASA's Artemis II crew gearing up for a 10-day trip around the moon. This is the first time humans will have gone that far out in over 50 years. And at the very same time, companies all over the country are getting ready for the biggest shakeup to the H-1B skilled visa program that we have seen in decades. Both are really about securing America's future, one out in the cosmos and the other in the global economy.
All right, so let's start with that journey to the moon. This isn't just about repeating history. Nope, this is a critical test flight for a whole new generation of exploration.
Now, what's so interesting here is how it really gets to the why of the mission. You know, the Apollo program back in the day, that was all about a geopolitical race. It was about flags and footprints. Artemis it's just different. The goal this time is to create a sustainable human presence on the moon, like a stepping stone for science, and yeah, eventually for Mars. And check out the approach. This is not a go-it-alone kind of mission. It's built on international partnerships through what they call the Artemis Accords. And the tech? The Space Launch System, or SLS, is an absolute beast. It packs 15% more thrust than the legendary Saturn V.
And this crew, well, they perfectly represent that new collaborative spirit. So let's meet the four astronauts of Artemis II. From NASA, you've got Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, and mission specialist Christina Cook. And rounding out the team is mission specialist Jeremy Hansen from the Canadian Space Agency. I mean, they're making history before they even leave the ground. Victor Glover is going to be the first black astronaut to fly around the moon, and Jeremy Hansen, the first Canadian. It's incredible.
The final days before a launch like this are just a masterclass in precision. It all kicked off back on March 19th, when that massive SLS rocket began its slow, careful crawl out to Launch Pad 39B. The crew showed up on the 27th to start their final quarantine, and then the real test of nerves. At exactly 4:44 p.m. on March 30th, the official countdown clock started ticking, all leading up to a targeted liftoff on April 1st at 6:24 p.m. Eastern.
But look, this mission isn't without its challenges. In fact, a critical discovery from the uncrewed Artemis I test flight back in 2022 threw a major engineering curveball. After that spacecraft came back to Earth, NASA found some unexpected erosion, char loss, on the Orion heat shield. And that is the one system that the crew absolutely 100% depends on to survive re-entry.
So what do you do? A full redesign of the heat shield would have meant years and years of delays. But instead, NASA engineers came up with this really ingenious workaround. They figured out that the damage was being caused by gases getting trapped in the shield's material during a very specific phase of re-entry. So the solution wasn't to change the hardware, it was to change the flight plan. They've decided to go with a steeper re-entry angle, which means the spacecraft spends less time in that critical, dangerous thermal zone. It's just a brilliant piece of risk mitigation.
And speaking of risk mitigation, that is the name of the game in these final hours. I mean, teams are monitoring absolutely everything. The weather on the ground looks about 80% favorable. They're just keeping an eye on some clouds and winds. And up in space, a recent solar flare caused a minor geomagnetic storm, but the forecasters have confirmed it's settling down, so no risk to the mission. Bottom line, all systems are officially go for launch.
Okay, so now let's pivot, because while that countdown is happening at Kennedy Space Center, there is another, equally critical countdown happening in offices and boardrooms all across the country. And this one will determine the future of American innovation.
This right here is the central question driving that countdown on Earth. In a world where brainpower is pretty much the most valuable thing there is, how does a country make sure it's attracting the very best? For years, the US used a lottery system for its H-1B visas, and, well, a lot of people said it was open to fraud and didn't really prioritize the most important jobs. The answer, it seems, is a complete and total overhaul of that system.
For the longest time, getting an H-1B visa was basically a game of chance. If your application was valid, you were just thrown into a random lottery. But starting with the 2027 fiscal year, that's all changing. The new system is wage-weighted. The core idea is no longer chance, it's a deliberate strategy to prioritize high-skilled, high-paying roles. Basically, the higher the salary you're offered, the better your odds of getting picked.
So how does this actually work? It's all about multiplying your chances. It's pretty straightforward. An application at what they call wage level 1 gets you 1 entry in the lottery. But an offer at wage level 2, that gets you 2 entries.
Level 3 gets you 3 entries, and you can see where this is going. The impact is crystal clear. Companies are now seriously incentivized to offer more competitive salaries if they want to secure the talent they really need.
And then there's another rule that's a total game changer, and it has HR departments everywhere rewriting their budgets. For a lot of new H-1B petitions, especially for people who are outside the US, companies now have to make an additional payment of $100,000 just to be eligible. This is not just some fee, it's a massive financial commitment. It's designed to make sure companies are only pursuing and investing in the absolute top tier of global talent, weeding out the less serious applications.
So for any manager trying to navigate this, the new rules demand a really clear action plan. First, you've got to audit your talent pipeline. Figure out which candidates qualify for those higher wage levels to boost your odds. Second, get your online accounts with the Immigration Service ready to go way before that March deadline. Then you have to budget for everything: registration fees, filing fees, and that potential $100,000 payment. And finally, you have to partner with immigration specialists to make sure every single detail is compliant. In this new system, the stakes are just way too high to get it wrong.
So, there we have it, a rocket launch and a visa overhaul. Let's bring these two stories back together and really look at the strategic core they both share. When you take a step back, you see they really do have the same DNA. Both are these huge exercises in high-stakes risk management. NASA is trying to mitigate the risk of a hardware failure on a spacecraft. The visa overhaul, it's designed to mitigate the risk of fraud and losing out on top talent. Both are about prioritizing elite assets, a priceless spacecraft for 4 astronauts on one hand, and the most valuable professionals for the entire economy on the other. And ultimately, both are about the exact same goal: securing future competitiveness, both in the stars and in the global race for innovation right here at home. And that leaves us with a really fascinating thought: a mission to the moon and a new system for brainpower. One is about pushing a physical frontier, and the other is about securing an intellectual frontier. So what does it say about a nation, or really about our modern world, when our most ambitious projects are focused not just on where we can go, but on who we can bring with us on the journey? It's a pretty powerful question about the future of ambition itself.